ਦਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
Little boys and little girls, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Jasmine Kaur and I will be your moderator today, and what that means is that I will help answer some of the questions that you will have after the presentation. So before we do that, what I would like to do is I'd like to tell you a little bit about Sikh Research Institute. That's the organization that helps puts on these webinars for you, so that wherever you are sitting, in your home or in a library or in a classroom, that you can listen to some of the fun stuff that we have for children. So Sikh Research Institute came about 8 years ago, and we do a lot of work that helps people within our own Sikh community and people outside of the Sikh community to understand more about SikhRI. We do a lot of leadership programs. We do a lot of educational programs so that if there's information that people don't understand or they don't know, that we can kind of show them how to understand it and how to get to know it. And something very special that we do for all of you is we do workshops that we can come to your Gurdwara and do, or we can come to your community and do at a library, about different values about SikhRI, about learning Gurmukhi and language skills. So we do a lot of things for all different ages of groups, all the way from when you're in kindergarten to all the way till, you know, you're 60 or 70 years old, and if you want to learn about SikhRI. So that's what Sikh Research Institute does, and today we're doing a very special webinar called Janeu Story, and it's going to be presented by Inni Kaur Auntie. And we're going to call her Inni Kaur Auntie because that's kind of how all the kids who know about her book, which she wrote, Journey with the Gurus, call her Inni Kaur Auntie. So what we'll do is I'm going to tell you a little bit about her so that you know kind of who is she, and you know how come she loves writing for us, and then she'll read the story for all of us. So she is actually the vice president of a company called Spectrum Communications, and so that company helps in advertising, and when there are other companies who need help with showing who they are, that's what the company does, and she helps them do that. She loves poetry and she writes a lot of poetry, and so she's written a lot, and they've been published on websites or even in different magazines and books. And she recently wrote this book that she's going to be reading from today called Journey with the Gurus, and it talks about when Guru Nanak Sahib was born and everything that he is going through his life. And she shares that with us so that we can understand what Guru Sahib's message was. She teaches in Norwalk, Connecticut at the Gurdwara Sunday School, which is called Guru Gobind Singh Academy. And she's on a lot of boards, which means she talks about different things that are needed for the community with these organizations that help the community and help share information with each other about different faiths. So what we're going to do so that we don't get too late, I hope all of you have your teddy bear and a little blanket or a little toy next to you, and we are going to go into the presentation, and as Inni Panji is going to read, we're going to put up pictures for you that you can see as well. So Inni Panji, what we're going to do is Gurvinder uncle is going to switch me and make me the presenter, and I'm going to put up your presentation, and then we can begin soon.
That's very good, Jasmine. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, Inni Panji, it's all yours.
All right. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh, boys and girls. Today's story is the Janeu ceremony. One day, not too long after sunrise, there was loud, quick knocks on the door of Pita Kaluji's home. "I wonder who it could be so early in the morning," said Pitaji to Mataji, who was busy in the kitchen with Nanki, preparing the family's breakfast. "It sounds very urgent," replied Mata Triptaji. "Perhaps someone has come to see you on an important matter." Pitaji hurried to open the door. The door had barely opened when in rushed Pandit Hardyal, out of breath, tightly clutching his shoulder bag. Meta Kalu, thank God you are home. I'm sorry to disturb you so early, but I needed to see you right away. I was just looking at my astrological charts and noticed the most remarkable thing. The sun and the moon are perfectly aligned. Tomorrow would be a very, very lucky day to have Nanak's Janeu ceremony. The next suitable day will not come for another 8 months. I don't think you should wait that long. Nanak is 10 years old already. What do you think? Can you make all the arrangements by tomorrow? Asked Panditji nervously. Pitaji quickly realized the importance of what Panditji was saying. He looked at Mataji to get her opinion. Mataji smiled and nodded. "Panditji, you are absolutely right. We should not wait. I will make sure that everything will be ready for the ceremony. Thank you for letting us know," said Pitaji. Pandit Hardyal looked relieved. "I'll see you all tomorrow morning then," he said, smiling and patting Nanki on her head as he left. Right after breakfast, Pitaji started making plans for the ceremony. "Nanak is my only son, and I want the occasion to be a very special one. Mataji, please make sure to send messages to all our relatives. I want everyone to be here for the ceremony. It's going to be the biggest and the best Janeu ceremony that the village has ever seen," he said, rushing out of the house. The first thing Pitaji did was to go and invite his boss, Rai Buller. Then he went to the village square and asked everyone he could find to come for Nanak's Janeu ceremony. As all the villagers loved young Nanak very much, they happily accepted Pitaji's invitation. They were excited to be part of this special occasion. Pitaji continued to rush around the village, making all the necessary arrangements. The tent vendors, the cooks, and the flour sellers all promised that they would come to Pitaji's house that afternoon to set things up. What a relief! There was so much to be done, and only one day to do it all in. This was the first important religious ceremony in his son's life, and Pitaji wanted everything to go just right. Back at the house, Nanak could not understand what all the fuss was about. He wanted to know more about the Janeu. "Bebe Nanaki, what is a Janeu ceremony? Why are Mataji and Pitaji so excited about it? Did you have this ceremony? Are you wearing the Janeu?" "Veer, I don't know much about the Janeu. I didn't have this ceremony. I think only boys have it. But I'm sure Mataji and Pitaji will be able to tell you all about it." So off went young Nanak to find his mother. Mataji was busy cleaning and preparing the rooms for the relatives who were visiting their home. "Mataji, what is a Janeu? And how come Bebe Nanaki, who is older than me, does not wear one?" Mata Triptaji smiled and replied, "Beta, the Janeu ceremony is a very important ritual in a young Hindu boy's life. The Janeu will always protect and guide you. Girls, this don't girls wear the Janeu? If the Janeu is for protection, then I want Bebe Nanki to wear one too. I want her to feel protected also. No, no, girls are not allowed to wear the Janeu. But Mataji, why do I have to wear it and not Bebe Nanki? It's not fair. Beta, go and ask your father, said Mataji as she laid out clean bedsheets. Young Nanak ran off to find his father. Pitaji was busy talking with the cooks and with the vendors who had come up to put up the tents. He was making sure that they understood exactly what was expected of them. He wanted to be certain that everything went perfectly. Pitaji, there you are, said Nanak. I've been looking all over for you. I have some questions, and Mataji said you would be able to answer them. Of course, beta, I will answer your questions, but make them quick. I have lots of things to do and so little time. Pitaji, what is a Janeu, and why do I have to wear a Janeu and not Bebe Nanki? Pitaji looked at Nanak lovingly and said, Beta, wearing a Janeu is a very old and sacred tradition. Only people belonging to the upper Hindu castes are allowed to wear it. Wearing a Janeu will make you a better person. It will also protect you. Look, here is my Janeu. I began to wear it when I was your age, and my father, grandfather, and great-grandfather, all of them also wore it. Nanak looked carefully at his father's Janeu and said, Pitaji, it looks just like a thread. Is it only a thread? How will a thread make me a better person? And why doesn't Bebe Nanki wear one? Beta, right now I don't have the time to answer all your questions. I'm in the middle of supervising the cooks and the tent and the flower vendors, said Pitaji as he hurried about checking the preparations. Then Pitaji, who can answer my questions? Pitaji thought for a moment and said, Pandit Hardyal will be able to answer all your questions. He is a very learned man. He knows everything. Yes, he will definitely be able to tell you all that you want to know. All right, Pitaji, I will go and ask Panditji. Not now, Nanak. Panditji is busy. Tomorrow he is coming to our home for the ceremony. Ask him then. Don't bother him now. But Pitaji, I really want to know. Why can't I go now? I'm sure Panditji won't mind. No, Nanak, you cannot go now. Do you have your new dhoti and slippers ready for tomorrow? Yes, Pitaji. Bebe Nanki has laid out my dhoti, my slippers, and everything else for me. That night, Nanak lay in bed thinking about the Janeu. He wondered, how can a thread protect me? How can it make me a better person? Does it have magical powers? What if it breaks? Why isn't Bebe Nanki wearing one? Nanak had so many questions that he barely slept. The next morning, everyone was up very early. There was great excitement in the house. The flower sellers were busy decorating the tent with fresh blossoms. The cooks were making paranthas and lassi for breakfast. Pita Kaluji and Mata Triptaji were looking after the relatives and friends who had come for the special occasion. Some of them had arrived quite early. Young Nanak peeked out of his room. He saw so many people. There were people there whom he had never seen before. He was not sure what he should do, so he decided to stay in his room. Nanaki knew that her brother was not going to leave his room, so she brought him his breakfast there. What's the matter, Veer? You don't look happy. This is your special day. All this is happening because of you. Yes, I know, but no one has really explained why I must wear the Janeu. I just don't understand why I have to wear it and not you. Just then, Nanaki saw Pandit Hardayal entering the house. She rushed out to greet him. Everyone always greeted Panditji with great respect, which he enjoyed very much. Netta Kalu, said Pandit Hardayal, you have a lot of guests who have come to bless your son on his Janeu ceremony. He is a very lucky boy. Yes, yes, Panditji. We are very blessed to have most of our relatives and friends here. They all love Nanak very much, replied Pitaji hurriedly. Panditji, Nanak has a few questions about the Janeu. Would you please answer them for him? Yes, of course. I'd be happy to answer his questions. But where is Nanak? I don't see him, said Pandit Hardayal, looking around. I think he's still in his room. Nanaki has just gone to get him. I'm sure he will be here at any moment. Then let's begin with the ceremony, said Pandit Hardayal, walking towards the center of the tent where the Havan, the sacred fire, would be lit. Panditji sat down and made himself quite comfortable. He opened his bag and laid out all the things that he required for the ceremony. Finally, he was ready to start. He carefully placed small pieces of fragrant sandalwood into the Havan. Then he poured some ghee onto the wood and lit the fire. As the flames from the Havan rose into the air, he started chanting verses from the Vedic holy books. Then, from his bag, he took out the Janeu. By now, everyone had sat down round the fire and was watching Panditji twist and braid the 3 threads of cotton in a special way. The Janeu needed to be long enough to go over Nanak's shoulder, across his chest, and all the way down to his waist. Nanak came and sat near his father. Go and sit near Panditji, near the Havan, whispered Pitaji. Slowly Nanak got up and sat across Panditji. Panditji was very busy chanting and preparing the Janeu. The flames were rising. Nanak looked at Panditji and softly said, Panditji, I have a few questions about the Janeu ceremony. Panditji nodded and softly said, Yes, yes, I know. Your father has already told me. First, we will perform the ceremony, and then I will answer all your questions. Panditji, please answer my questions before you start the ceremony. I really want to know the purpose of wearing the Janeu before you put it on me. All right, what is it that you want to know, Nanak? Quickly, Nanak said, Panditji, why do I have to wear a Janeu? What will happen if I don't wear one? How can a cotton thread protect me? How can it make me a better person? Pitaji said that only upper caste Hindu boys and men wear it. Why is it so? You do have a lot of questions. I will try to answer all of them, replied Pandit Hardayal, as he continued to twist and braid the Janeu. Beta, the Janeu ceremony is a very important event in your life as a Hindu boy. It is like your second birth, with the goddess of knowledge as your mother. After this ceremony, you will be allowed to read the Vedic holy books. Having the knowledge of the Vedas will protect you and make you a better person. By wearing the Janeu, you will also have the spiritual protection of all the gods and goddesses. Without the Janeu, you will not be allowed to read the Vedas, and you will not have this very important spiritual protection, explained Panditji patiently. Nanak, Have I answered your questions? Shall we continue with the ceremony? Not quite yet, Panditji, Nanak quickly replied. What is troubling you? Ask me anything, said Pandit Hardayal confidently. Panditji, why do women not wear the Janeu? Well, actually, women do get to wear it, but only after they are married. When you marry, Nanak, your wife can also get to wear one, said Pandit Hardayal, smiling. But Panditji, that's unfair. Does this mean that a woman can never learn to read the Vedas before she is married? Who will protect her? What if she dies before her marriage? What would happen to her then? Nanak, I'm only telling you what is written in the Vedas. Besides, you should not be talking about death on this very special occasion, said Pandit Hardayal, getting a little annoyed. But Nanak continued with his questions. Panditji, why do only the upper caste Hindu boys at my age get to wear the Janeu? Actually, Nanak, a boy from a Brahmin family has his Janeu between the ages of 5 and 8. A boy from a Kshatriya family like you has it between the ages of 9 and 11. And a boy from a Vaishya family has it at the age of 12, explained Panditji, who was now getting more and more impatient. All the guests were listening very carefully to what Pandit Hardayal was saying. Panditji knew that the people were being impressed by his knowledge and wisdom. Nanak, have your questions finished? We are getting late for the ceremony. Nanak looked at his parents and his sister. His father was frowning, but his mother and sister were smiling. Panditji, I have one more question. Why are Shudras considered lower caste, and why can't they get to wear the Janeu? No, no, the Shudras are not allowed, said Pandit Hardayal angrily. They are the lowest caste of people. The Vedas say so. They are not even allowed to recite the Vedic prayers. The holy words cannot come out of the mouth of Shudras. Nanak, no more questions. All this talk about Shudras has polluted the air. I have to recite special prayers now to purify the air. Only then will I be able to continue with your Janeu ceremony. Pandit Hardayal put some more pieces of wood into the oven and started chanting in a loud voice. The flames got stronger and the smoke started to rise. Nanak looked at Panditji and slowly said, Panditji, I don't want to wear the Janeu. Everyone was shocked. There was a look of disbelief on people's faces. Pitaji was furious. He got up to go to Nanak, but Mataji gently held his arm and made him sit down. Pandit Hardayal could not believe what he had heard. What is the meaning of this, Nanak? Don't you want to learn the Vedic prayers? Don't you want the spiritual protection of the gods and goddesses? Panditji, please don't be angry with me, said Nanak calmly. I don't want to wear a Janeu if a Sudra, a Muslim, and an unmarried girl can't wear one. I would be happy to wear a Janeu only if everyone in the world could wear it. Pandit Hardayal was fuming. But Nanak continued, Panditji, how can a thread give me spiritual protection? It is only made out of cotton. It will get dirty, and when it gets old, it will break. I really don't think a thread can protect me. I think God's protection comes from other things. When people are kind to each other and treat each other right, when we are honest and keep our word with each other, when we are patient and accept what God gives us in life. That is what brings us spiritual protection. If this simple cotton thread can give me all these moral values and virtues, and if everyone can wear it, then please put it on me. But if it can't, then I don't want to wear it. Everyone was listening carefully to what young Nanak was saying. Some were nodding their heads in agreement. Others looked a bit puzzled. Panditji, God created this universe and everything in it. The Janeu that you want me to wear creates discrimination. I don't believe that God's protection is only for the people of the higher castes. I believe that there is only one God who is kind and loving to everyone. I don't believe that God discriminates. Pandit Hardyal's face turned red with anger. Nanak, you have crossed the line. Mehta Kalu, your son has insulted me in front of the whole village. He has disrespected our religion. I will not perform his Janeu ceremony, shouted Pandit Hardyal, gathering his things and stomping off. Pitaji quickly ran after him, trying to apologize for Nanak's behavior. But Pandit Hardyal was too angry to stop and listen. After Panditji left, Rai Buller went up to Pita Kaluji and said, God has blessed you with a remarkable child. You are a very lucky man. He is a 10-year-old child, but has the wisdom of a 100-year-old person. He is a true gem. Look after him well. Hearing Rai Buller praise Nanak made it easier for everyone to congratulate Pita Kaluji and Mata Triptaji on what their son had said. Most of the people in the village already knew that young Nanak was very special. They believed that God had sent him to make the world a better place. Pitaji did not know what to say. He just kept quiet. He was not happy with what had happened, but there was nothing he could do. Everyone stayed on to enjoy the feast. They all wanted to talk with Nanak, but he was nowhere to be found. He and Nanaki had left the feast and were sitting quietly together down by the river. There was a lot on young Nanak's mind. The end.
Thank you, Inni Auntie. That was a wonderful story. And I hope everyone got to think about different things. It was kind of different, huh? That there was a special party kind of going on, a special occasion going on at little Nanak's house, and it was specially for him. But he wanted to make sure he understands why this was going on and what was going on. So maybe what we can do is let's talk about some of the discussion points, some of the things that came up in the story. So one of the things was, and while I'm doing this, you can actually ask questions and then we'll answer those questions as well. And I already see, I think there might be one question that's already here. But what I was going to talk about was that even though there was a lot of talk about spiritual protection or just being protected or being safe, that Lil Nanak kind of explained to us that if we did the right things, if we kind of became Vaheguru-like, then that is automatic protection itself. Then we'll be safe ourselves. And I'm sure many of you have heard of Mool Mantar, right? When we go from Ikonkar, Satnam, Karta Purak, Nirpo, Nirvair, Akal Murat, Ajuni, Sepang, Gur Prasad. Have you ever thought of it that those are the qualities of Vaheguru? And so some of the three qualities that we just picked from there were Satnam, Nirpo, and Nirvair. So Satnam, what does Satnam mean to you? Are you thinking something about the truth? Then you're probably right. So when you think about how you can be truthful at all times, and when you are ready to stand with something that is truthful, then that's kind of like being Vaheguru-like, right? As long as you're willing to say the truth all the time, even though it might get you in trouble, or when someone is, if there are two individuals and one is saying a lie and one is saying a truth, and you know what the truth is, and you're willing to stand with the person who's saying the truth, then you're identifying with the truth, then you're becoming truthful, then you're becoming more Vaheguru-like. And Nirpo is another one. Nirpo means without any fear. I'm sure there are a lot of things that we are fearful about, but we have to learn how to be less fearful of them. And how do we do that? Maybe by thinking, okay, we have to get to understand some of the things better. If we understand some of the things better, then we won't be fearful of it. We won't be afraid of it. We won't be scared to go into a dark room when we know that even going into the dark room, nothing's going to happen. We just have to be careful where we walk so that we don't bump into anything. And then there's Nirved, without hatred. If we have love in our hearts in everything that we do, then we won't have any hatred, right? We won't want to be anyone's enemy. We won't consider anyone being as our enemy. So if we do all these things and all the other things by doing the right things in life, then we're automatically protected. And you must have noticed from the story how Guru Nanak, little Nanak's relationship with his sister was. He was very concerned that why was it that little girls can't wear the Janeu? Why was it that other individuals of different castes couldn't wear it, especially the Shudras couldn't wear it? So maybe we need to think about what are the different kind of ways that we discriminate. Are there certain things that we do that we say that girls aren't allowed to do that? Or are there certain things that we do that we say, oh, because those people aren't like us, we're going to bully them? Or if we feel that they're going to, bully us? So something to think about. How is it that we always remember how to be equal, how to make sure everyone is inclusive and not discriminate against them, not be mean to them or leave them out. So I see some questions. Let's go to the questions. Okay, so the question we have is, thanks, it was a wonderful story. My 5-year-old son wants to know that why do we wear a kada? Are you thinking about it, everyone? We wear a kada because it's one of the gifts that Guru Sahib gave to us. And I think maybe the question that this 5-year-old is asking is it different from the Janeu? Let's think about it. Can anyone wear the kada? Yes, it doesn't matter if it's a girl or a boy or a little person or a big person, right? Anyone can wear it. So it's a gift. When someone gives us a gift, we don't usually ask them, right? Why did you give us a gift? When they give us a gift, we enjoy it and we wear it. So for Sikhs, that is something to think about, that when we wear a kada, and when we keep our kesh, which is also of the part of the 5 Ks, when we keep our kirpan, when we wear our kachera, when we wear our kanga, all these are gifts that go together. So it's not separate, right? So something for us to remember. I have another question. Oh, actually, I don't have another question. That was just a comment from someone. Inni Benji, would you like to add some more to the earlier question?
The kara is, I know a lot of children ask, but is the kara just like the Janeu? And Jasmine Benji answered it very right. No. If you looked at it, even in the Janeu, the Brahmin child, if a Brahmin boy, when he was young, very young, he gets to wear it. And then when the Kshatriya, which is another caste, gets to wear it another time. And then the Vaishya boy gets to wear it at 12. But a kara you wear right in the beginning. It's for all. There is no special time, nothing. It is also like Guruji gave it to us to wear, maybe to tell us, remember, put it on your hand and remember that God is always with you. Don't do anything wrong, you know, in that light. Jasmine?
Thank you. Yeah. Are there any other questions? I know the story was a little long, so probably a lot of you are thinking about a few different things. But if you don't have questions today, that's okay too. You can always write to us and ask us a question at info@SikhRI.org. And if you have a question directly for Inni Auntie, we can even send it to her. And she can help answer some of the questions, or we can help answer some of the questions. But if there are any other questions right now, we'd be happy to wait. And once those questions come, we can answer those. I know here in San Antonio, there's a special group of children who are at the library today who are listening in to the webinar. And later on, what they're going to do is have a little bit more discussion on the points that we had. So maybe that's something that you can do also. Maybe you're sitting with your parents, maybe you're with your grandparents, maybe with a few other friends who are there with you. So we would love to hear any of your questions, and we would love to hear any of your feedback that you have. That means you can tell us, what did you think about the story? Was there something about the story that really made you think about something? Was there something about the story that you already knew? Maybe you had heard the story before, but it was different when it was kind of showing you, the story was showing you how does little Nanak, what kind of questions he had. Maybe that's something that you didn't know before, right? I see another chat message from someone. Let's see if that's a question. I see. So someone was asking, what do all of you think? Do you think little Nanak really loved his sister? I think all of you would agree with me when we say absolutely. He had a very, very special connection with him. And if some of you were here when we read the first story, you'd remember that he really had a very special connection with his sister, and she kind of got to know him. She knew what he was thinking in many ways. And even at the end of the story, he was so concerned. Throughout the whole story, he was so concerned that why is it that Bibi Nanki couldn't wear the Janeu, and that she had to wear it only after she got married. Does that mean that she doesn't get protected? So I thought this was a very special thing for a little child to think about it. And one thing that makes me think about little Nanak and Bibi Nanki, that I think that little Nanak, he wouldn't have thought about this just for Bibi Nanki. He would think about it for all the little girls out there and all the women out there. So it's really important to be equal, right? To remember, how can we be fair to everyone, not only people who look like us, not only our family, but everyone out there. So if there are people who are suffering, people who other people are not being fair to, then we have to think about what is it that we should do to help them so that things aren't being unfair. And Darshlin Kaur just asked, she said, do people still wear the Janeu? Yes, people still do wear the Janeu because that is part of the Hindu tradition. So that's something that they believe in, but Guru Sahib taught us to stay away from these kind of traditions. Is there anyone who would like to share an example of when they were not being treated fairly, or if someone else was not being treated fairly? And maybe what did you think, or what did you do? How did it make you feel? I'll give it about a minute or so, because maybe the person who's typing it needs to hear what the question is. Oh. And maybe while we're doing that, I don't know if this question already got answered because of the other things we were saying, but the question was, is Amrit Chakna like the Janeu ceremony? What do you guys think? Is there anyone who would like to share with us? Is Amrit Chakna like the Janeu ceremony? Think about what we said earlier. Can anyone take Amrit? Can anyone make a commitment to Guruji and say, from today on, I am going to be your Sikh? Yes, they can, right? Maybe it's special in the way that, just the way that the family made it a very special thing for little Nanak. Maybe you as an individual makes it a very, very special thing for you, but there's no discrimination involved in that. No one is allowed to discriminate against someone. No one is allowed to say a girl can't take Amrit. If this person has a certain name and was born into a certain family, they can't have Amrit. No one says that, right? So that's why it's not like the Janeu ceremony at all. It's more like a special commitment that you make. It's a special promise that you make with your Guru. And you say to your Guru, Guruji, from now on, I am going to be your Sikh, and I am going to promise that I will do all the right things in my life. And when I try and promise to do all the right things, then I know that I will automatically be protected. That's excellent. I don't see any more questions, or I didn't see a comment from anyone about maybe about how they felt when someone was being treated unfairly, or maybe if they were being treated unfairly. And some of the things that we spoke about today, that even if someone was being treated unfairly, it's the right thing to do. Remember, we were talking about if we do the right things, the right thing to do is to stand up for them and take action for it and to make it right. So maybe that's something that we can, when we go to school on Monday, oh, actually, I think most of us are on summer vacation, right? But even when you're playing with your friends sometimes out in the playground, something unfair happens. And what did Guru Nanak do? Did he just start crying? Did he start shouting? Did he start having a big fit? No, he used his words. He questioned. He said, why? You know, maybe we need to think of it like this. Maybe we need to think of it like that. So that's something that you can do too. That's something that you can include as part of your everyday actions. So I hope all of you had a wonderful time. Remember, if you have Any questions for us, you can always send it to us at info@sikhri.org, and we'd be happy to answer all your questions. If you want to think about all the different things that Sikh Research Institute does, you can, oh, hang on 1 minute, I hope. Okay, you can definitely ask us, can you give us some specific ideas? What do you do? We would like to do something in our area, and we can come and do it for you, whether it's for the children who are listening right now, or whether it is for the adults who are listening right now. Maybe you want specific workshops for yourself on parenting, or maybe you want a specific workshop on Asakivar Barney or another Barney. We would be happy to come out and do it for you. Just feel free to contact us and we can work with you. And last but not least, I want to remind everyone, even the kids and even the adults, that all these webinars that we do, they're free registration to everyone. But Sikh Research Institute has to pay a special fee for it because it's involved with technology. And so we have to pay a special fees, and sometimes that gets really, really expensive for us. So we want to make sure that we let all of you know that if you are interested in helping us out, we would love for you to give us a gift in support of the Liv webinars that we did today. And what you can do also is we do at least one webinar a month, and you can help sponsor that one webinar. So let's say it is Janeu Kaur's birthday in November. So maybe the webinar that's coming up in November can be sponsored by Janeu Kaur's family. And what we'll make sure we'll do is, because this webinar, anyone sitting anywhere in the world, they can listen to it. And what we can do on that particular day when you've sponsored that webinar, we can make an announcement maybe wishing you a very happy birthday. So I hope that's something that all of you are going to consider. And even if sometimes there are a lot of people who don't want their name known, then that is fine too. We would make sure that we won't tell people your name, but we would be happy if you would be able to sponsor us. So please do feel free to, make a sponsorship. You can go to our website, which is www.sikhri.org. Again, it's www.sikhri.org. And if you are interested in purchasing the book that we read the story from today, it's called Journey with the Gurus. And you can go to www.journeywiththegurus.com and you can order it over there. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're so happy that you were with us. We hope to get a lot of emails from all of you about different questions you might have, or different things you thought about the story, and different things you can tell us about. And I also want to make sure I do say a very special thank you to Inni Auntie, who took the time to write this wonderful book for all of us and read the story for all of us today. And even though you heard me and Gurvinder Uncle and Inni Auntie today as our voices, but the people who helped put this together, they're all part of Sikh Research Institute, and they do a very, very good job to make sure that all of this can be comfortable for all of you. So we want to make sure we say thank you to all of them. Thank you for coming, and we hope we will see you soon. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you very much, Inni Kaur and Jasmine, for presenting us with a wonderful story and webinar today. I will begin a short feedback and evaluation session, so I would really appreciate it if you can go ahead and give us feedback on how we can make future webinars even more relevant and meaningful and useful to you. With that, I thank you everyone, and I've sent the email address where you can send your questions and also the website address for SikhRI, www.sikhri.org, and all questions can be sent to info@sikhri.org. With that, I thank everyone for their participation. Thank you everyone. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.